Okay, let's start with something pretty mind-blowing. Imagine this. Households in India, just regular people, are holding maybe 25,000, even 30,000 tons of gold.
It's an incredible figure.
And then in China, estimates are even higher, maybe 31,000 tons.
Yeah.
I mean, put that next to the U.S. official reserves,
Yeah.
which are, what, just over 8,100 tons?
Right. It completely dwarfs it. We're talking about vast, vast private wealth here.
Exactly. But, the big question we want to tackle today is this huge personal gold stash actually universally good, especially for lower-income families? Are they really benefiting? We want to kind of unpack this gilded paradox, how this symbol of wealth might actually be, well, a burden for some.
That's exactly right. And that's our mission for this deep dive, really, to look past just the sheer volume and understand the actual socioeconomic effects of, say, rising gold prices for the poor in India and China.
Because the stories are quite different in each place.
Very different. We'll see distinct realities and, honestly, some surprising implications.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. We're seeing gold prices surge. Forecasts heading towards, what, $4,000 an ounce by mid-2026? That's huge. What's behind this global rally?
Well, it's really a combination of powerful forces coming together. You've got central banks quite aggressively de-dollarizing. I mean, something like 73% expect the dollar share of reserves to fall.
Wow, okay.
Then add in all the geopolitical uncertainty we're seeing. And of course, private investors hunting for safe havens. Think about China's property crisis or just general inflation fears.
Right, seeking safety in gold.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is how these huge global trends directly impact people's personal net worth down to the individual level.
And that impact must be really pronounced somewhere like India, where gold isn't just, an investment asset. It's so much more, right? Deeply cultural.
Oh, absolutely. In India, gold plays this dual role. It's fundamental to culture, weddings, festivals, blessings. It's essential. But it's also a very pragmatic financial tool.
How so for the poorest?
Well, for the poorest households, gold often is their main asset. We're talking maybe 24% of their total wealth on average.
24%. Okay.
So if they already own gold, rising prices give them this liquidity effect. It boosts how much they can borrow against it. Crucial cash in an emergency when, formal banks won't lend to them.
So it could be a lifeline in that sense. But there's a flip side, isn't there? If prices go up, does it make it harder to buy the gold needed for those cultural things?
Precisely. That's the affordability crisis. It's great if you already own it, but for low-income families who have to buy gold for a daughter's wedding, say.
Which is culturally non-negotiable often.
Exactly. Rising prices turn that into an escalating, sometimes crippling financial burden. It pushes people into debt just to meet these obligations.
So even using the gold you own as a lifeline, that borrowing you mentioned, it comes at a cost. This sounds like the monetization trap you were hinting at.
That's it. To get cash from their paper wealth, the poor mostly rely on gold loans, often with really high interest rates. The informal sector dominates this, like 65% of the market.
So they turn their main asset into a recurring debt.
Yes, essentially. Yeah. It becomes a liability, and the lenders, well, they're often the main ones benefiting. And, this just widens the inequality gap.
Oh, so?
Because the affluent, they buy more gold. The top 20% make up almost 40% of purchases, so they get much larger absolute financial gains from price rises. The rich get richer faster.
And zooming out, does this have wider economic effects for India?
It definitely does. On a national level, India imports most of its gold. This huge demand contributes significantly to the country's current account deficit.
Right, money flowing out.
And it means vast amounts of capital are tied up in gold rather than flowing into, say, more productive investments that could fuel broader economic growth.
Okay, let's shift gears to China. You said the story there is quite different. How is their gold rush distinct?
Yeah, it's a different narrative. In China, the surge seems more state-encouraged, actually. And it's primarily driven by investment demand.
Not so much cultural pressure.
Less so in the same way as India. It's mainly urban, middle to upper class investors looking for that safe haven we talked about, away from shaky property markets, stock volatility, maybe a weaker yuan.
Interesting. So for China's rural poor, does the rising gold price mean much? Do they benefit?
Honestly, the direct impact seems pretty negligible. Gold just doesn't play that same foundational cultural or financial role for them.
So their strategies might be different.
Right. Their financial approaches might involve more active things like migrating for work, maybe investing in small businesses if they can, not so much passive gold holding. The benefits of rising prices there really flow more to the state and wealthier city dwellers.
Okay, so we've looked at India, looked at China. Very different pictures. Let's bring it together. Is a rising gold price, at the end of the day, unequivocally good for the poor?
I'd have to say no, not unequivocally good. You see, in India, while gold is a rational choice for the poor, it acts like an insurance policy, maybe a form of forced savings.
Because it holds value.
Yes, and it's tangible. But as an investment, it's often suboptimal. And the way it works in practice, with the high borrowing costs and affordability issues, it can actually be a net detriment. It increases financial stress, worsens inequality.
And for China's poor.
Largely irrelevant, it seems. The gold story there isn't really about them.
So what can be done? Are there policy ideas, particularly for India, to make this work better?
There are definitely things policymakers could explore. Reforming gold monetization schemes is one idea. Take India's sovereign gold bond scheme, for example.
How does that help?
Well, instead of holding physical gold, which just sits there and can be risky, these bonds track the gold price and pay 2.5% annual interest. So you get the exposure without the storage hassle or the cultural pressure for specific items.
And it actually generates a return.
Exactly. Plus,
Right.
formalizing and regulating that high-interest gold loan market is crucial. And of course, boosting financial literacy so people understand saving options beyond just physical gold. Diversification is key.
Makes sense.
You know, this whole deep dive really shows how something universally valued like gold can have such vastly different meanings and impacts. It really depends on the specific cultural and economic context.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it leaves you with a pretty important question to think about. Are societies doing enough to build other kinds of financial safety nets? Ones that are accessible, affordable, and truly beneficial for their most vulnerable citizens? Or are we, maybe inadvertently, just locking them into what you called that gilded cage?